Hi everyone, Keith Wilson here, spreading a wealth of information. As you know, I'm a financial advisor, and a lot of times I'll have people come in to the office and they want me to look at their current portfolio. Basically, they just want to get a second opinion. But before I dive into that prospective client's portfolio and I analyze it, what I like to do is get to know the client better. You see, it's really important to get an idea of a lot of things. First of all, what are your goals? What do you want this money in this portfolio to do for you? I mean, is it for retirement? Is it for a down payment on a house or college funding or, I don't know, some other future purchase? Also, I got to get to know your risk tolerance. That's really important to get an idea of how much risk you are willing to take for, a potential reward. Now, there are several tools I use that can assist in determining the amount of risk that would be suited for you. Another thing I need to know is, what is your time horizon? How long do you plan on investing this money? And also, are you going to be contributing to it along the way? So once I've compiled all this information, then I will have an idea of how the portfolio should be constructed to help, work towards achieving those goals and make sure it is in line with your risk tolerance and objectives. So just like a doctor that will have surgical tools, or a mechanic will have specialized equipment to diagnose a problem, and then they can go on to make those necessary repairs, I too have special tools and specialized analytical software to analyze a person's portfolio. So let's dive in and show you how I analyze a portfolio. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up their current statement, and what I'm looking for is the various positions in the account. Now, a position, it could be a mutual fund, a stock, a bond, or an ETF. So I'm looking at all of these positions in the portfolio and the quantity. Quantity is how many shares they own of that stock, bond, or mutual fund. And a lot of times people are going to have various statements. It's not just one, so I've got to compile them all together. And then from there, I'm going to enter all those positions into my software program, just one by one by one. All right, once I'm through entering all those positions, all the mutual funds, all the stocks, all the bonds, ETFs, or what have you, then the software compiles that all that data and puts it all together in one portfolio, and this is what it looks like. It's called Portfolio Snapshot. So the first thing I'm looking at is the asset allocation. And so what I'm seeing with this particular portfolio, when we add all those mutual funds, stocks, bonds, whatever, 51% is in U.S. stock, 23%, international, only 8% bonds. There's some other that's not classified, a little bit in cash. So the reason I'm looking for asset allocation, this is kind of the overall picture, the 30,000-foot view of how conservative or aggressive the portfolio is. And I would say this is a pretty aggressive portfolio. So if that client had told me through our risk tolerance questionnaires and risk scores that they were more of a moderate investor, I can tell right away this is more aggressive and it goes outside of their investment style. Speaking of investment style, what I'm looking at next is right here, and it's showing me out of all your holdings between mutual funds and stocks, you have 8,808 different stocks, and those stocks are varying between large cap, mid cap, small cap, and these are percentages, and we see most of it 33% is in a blend style, a mixture of growth and value. And as we get down to the mid caps, we see the percentages kind of get lower. That's normal. Small caps get even lower. But anyway, we see a lot of stock holdings in the portfolio. Then we get to the fixed income style. And this is the bond portfolio, or the bond portion. And this is high quality, medium quality, low quality, and short duration, and then long duration. So we see most of it looks like it's probably more in the junk bond category. And I can look even further at stock sectors. We can see how much is allocated to defensive, sensitive, cyclicals, how much is in America, Asia, so forth and so on. It gets a little technical with that. That's more for me than the client. Then we look at performance. And this is back testing the portfolio. It's a little flawed because what this is saying is if you haven't changed anything in your portfolio over the last 10 years, that's how it would perform. It's flawed because most people in 10 years are going to change something, or the advisor is going to change something, but it gives us an idea. And so what you're looking at, the blue portion is the benchmark, and in this case we're using the S&P 500. The red line is the overall portfolio of the client, and we can look at returns for 3 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years compared with the stock market. And we can look at best and worst case, or best time periods and worst time periods that it had in the last 10 years. We can look at a 3 month, a 1 year, 3 years, things like that. That's interesting. Now, another thing I'm going to look at is something called beta, which beta is a measurement of risk. So this is comparing with the overall stock market, in this case the S&P 500. If you had a beta of 1.00, that is saying that you have the same risk as the stock market. Now, we see that this beta is 0.92 on a 3-year average. There's your 5-year average, around 0.90 over the last 10 years. Now, again, if this client's risk profile turned out to be a moderate level of risk, saying, you know, I can't handle these major fluctuations. I just want a moderate, level of risk, moderate return. Then what this is telling me, it's out of whack. This is far too aggressive for that particular investor. Now, everybody is different, and things are going to, portfolios are going to be different for everybody. But again, moderate level of risk, I would say this is this portfolio, while it's performed well, they may not be able to handle, a 20% loss or 25% loss in a 6-month period. So we would have to tailor that to that client's needs. The other thing after this, I'm going to stress test this portfolio. Maybe it's for their retirement, and we want to look at how that would perform for them in certain situations, such as if we had a market crash there. This is saying the probability of success would be 54%. Or if we had high taxes, 57%. Low Social Security, things like that. So we stress test it for different scenarios if it was a retirement plan in this example. Now, the other thing that I'm going to look at, I'm going to run what is called a stock intersection report. And if you have a lot of mutual funds in the portfolio, all a mutual fund is, it's a bunch of stocks wrapped up into one package. So if you had 10 mutual funds, you might have the same stock in all 10 of those mutual funds. As evidence right here, so in this particular portfolio, wow, this individual's got a lot. Now that's a stock, that's not a mutual fund. but 8% of the whole portfolio is in that one stock, Royal Bank of Canada. And again, this is not a recommendation of any stock or any position. It's just an example. But we see all these mutual funds right here, and all of these mutual funds have Microsoft in them. It's not unusual. Microsoft is a pretty popular stock. And then the second top holding is Amazon. There again, a lot of funds are going to own that. And what this is telling me, it could be a little bit diluted and messing up with the diversification process. Now, the last thing we look at are fees. So with fees, I'm going to run a report on every single fund that's in the portfolio. Look at the fee level that's on there, the loads, expense ratio, things like that. I'll run that report on every single fund, and then we got to look at, if it's an advisory account, what is the advisor fee that is being charged to you, and we compile one total package on average. How much is this portfolio costing you? So the whole idea is to make sure that the portfolio is in line with your goals and possibly will work towards achieving those objectives that you may have. So if you'd like to see more videos like this discussing personal finance, be sure to hit that subscribe button below. I would really appreciate it. Thank you. And remember, be wise with your money.